and what can work for you. There's definitely not one size that fits all, so we'll start with a few questions about your business. First of all, ask yourself what your aim is. Do you need to rescue, to improve, to grow, or do you want to continue as you are? If you want to be rescued, you're probably experiencing issues with cash flow, profitability, or culture. If you want to improve, then like the rest of us, you may not have a perfect business, but you know you've got something good and you just need to put some structure in place to make it work better. People who want to grow are ambitious, their ideas may be as big as the sky, and it's worth putting a lot of work to make that scalability possible for the future. Lastly, if you think you want to continue, you're kidding yourself. There is no such thing as continuing as you are in business and remaining in business. If you aim to be as you are, you will fail. Look what just happened to Jeans West in Australia. You need to be able to adapt in order to stay in business. And really, adapting is improving. So we're going to take away that category and then think about your business now. Are you a rescue, an improve, or a grow? Secondly, ask yourself, how big is your team or your business at the moment? Are you a one-man band? Have you got a small team of a few people? Or have you got multiple people, 20, 30, 100, 300 people or more? Depending on that, you're going to be looking at a different split of how to do your strategic plan and different challenges that you need to be aware of from the beginning. So if you're a small team, 1 to say 5 people, I would suggest strongly that you either look at your business as a whole for strategic planning, or that you consider splitting it into 3 separate divisions and no more. Think about it as growing your business, your core operations, that is your products and services, the reason why you're in business today, and lastly, the business management, how you support the structures and processes and systems of your business. You will often hear these 3 areas described as the find, growth, the grind, operations, and the mind, business management. Thinking about it that way can make it a lot less daunting and a lot easier to understand what you as a business owner need to focus on. If you have a larger team, the luxury of 20 or more people, you definitely want to split this into each of the operational areas, and you may well end up with 8 to 10 different streams of your plan. So that would be split then into sales, marketing, products, services, for example, administration, finances, expenses, HR, systems, IT, facilities. Structure it according to your org chart and what people's roles are already, and you'll have a plan that works for you. Secondly, look at the challenges. If you're a very small 1 or 2 man team, the biggest challenge will be making time to make this happen. You just need to commit to the change and then aim to reinvest the time that you save. So the first week, you might carve out an extra half an hour a day. Hopefully that over time turns into 1 hour a day or even 2 hours a day to put into the strategic improvement of your business. Secondly, staying accountable. When there's nobody that we report to, it's up to us. The buck stops with us, and we need to be responsible for just keeping going and not letting other things get in the way. If you have a medium-sized team, the biggest problem there is usually the business owner. It might be the first time he or she has been required to let go of the reins and to delegate important decisions to their team. But it's really vital. You need to empower them. You need to inspire those people to bring their ideas to the table and to work out how to make them work for your company, for your business, for your vision. Lastly, if you've got larger teams, making the strategy real and understood by everybody in the company or the business is vitally important. You want it to become a day-to-day reality. Secondly, similar challenges with making people accountable for their particular area. Now, if you have a receptionist, their accountability may stretch to answering the phone and making a good coffee, but they need to be equally accountable to that as if they were the finance manager responsible for all of the company's finances. And lastly, dissenters. There are going to be people in any company or business who are like the rotten apples. They're going to be injecting dissatisfaction and disloyalty and taking your team away from committing to the business and the business owner. You need to be able to stamp these people out, at least their behavior out, and make sure that they're not disrupting everything else and the strategic direction of your business. The third question, third of 3, how motivated are you? Now, I have a picture of me on this page because this is a personal question. This is about how motivated you as a business owner are, how many people you will be able to lead and inspire in this journey, how determined you are to succeed in the things that you need to see changing. So now you understand a little bit about what you're looking for, what your business needs and what you need. Let's look at some of the different approaches that you can have for the different sizes of business. Now, this is a 101 because we've only got a few minutes to cover an enormous amount of detail that usually would be a whole day course on how to write a strategic plan. So first of all, let's look at small businesses. This is a single page plan. It's done really well by some other groups that I've seen. Very simple, ideal for somebody writing their first strategic plan and not really used to enacting change in the business. Aim to plan for somewhere between 90 days and 1 year. Look at your current state, where you are today and where you want to be at the end of the plan period. And then once you've understood that, you can start to create strategies and actions in order to make that a possibility. So again, at the bottom left here, we've got division and area. I've split it up here into the overall business, the growth, the core operations, and the business management side of things. For each of those, or for your operational areas, sales, marketing, etc., have actions. Things that you are going to do to make those strategies identified above a reality. So, for example, your strategy might be to increase sales. Your actions might be to put on a sales rep, to go on a training course, to start a new networking group, to market through LinkedIn. There are all sorts of different things that you can be doing to increase sales. Secondly, make sure you have somebody responsible. And thirdly, have a committed end date that you could look back and say this is or is not done by this time. You'll see in the responsible column here, I've got something very important. It's the title or the role of the person doing it. So in a small business, the owner and quite often the key staff will often be doing multiple roles. And you need to be thinking about it, not in terms of who, but in terms of why and what they're doing. So I've got here the managing director, the marketing manager, the chief instructor, and the IT manager. Now, 3 of those roles are run by Gary May. So it's the same person doing them, but in each case, he's putting on a different hat and doing it for a different reason, responsibility or accountability for a different area. It's important to do that because over time, the same individual can look back and say, I have succeeded in hitting all of my sales targets, for example, but for whatever reason, I didn't succeed in hitting my IT targets. Why is IT lower priority to me? What is getting in the way of me properly performing that role? Now, we look at slightly bigger businesses and a more focused plan. It goes into much more detail. This is the beginning of the full strategic plan we would do with business success clients, which can be 40 pages in length. But something like this would usually be up to about 5 pages at most. It's a really good, solid foundation for strategic growth for a business that's trying to do this for the first time, but wants to do a really well thought out, robust job of the strategic planning. So start by knowing your vision. Secondly, plan your goals, consider the requirements, what you need in place to get there, look at your current state, where you are today, work out what the strategies are to go from today to end goal, and lastly, take those strategies and turn them into actions. We'll go into a lot more detail in the next couple of pages, so don't worry, that was fast. We tend to like to looking at it by an analogy of climbing a mountain. So in that analogy, knowing your vision is the same as it's understanding your dream. So it's picking your summit. I don't want to climb Everest. It's crowded and it's over touristy. Everybody does it. I want to be different. I would much rather climb, say, Kilimanjaro. So secondly, plan your goals. When are you going to do it and how are you going to do it? Do I want to climb Kilimanjaro on the north face or the south face? Consider your requirements. That's your logistics. It's how much money will I need to be able to put in place to save to get there? What will I need to know? What will I need to do? What will I need to change? Looking at your current state needs to be a realistic assessment of where you are now. So that is, of course, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. It's looking at the things that I need to work on. So in the case of me wanting to climb Kilimanjaro, I need to put in place a savings plan. I need to do some physical training. I probably need to do some cultural learning around the areas that I'm going to, possibly learn the local language. I need to hire a Sherpa or a local guide. I need to put into place security arrangements. I need to get the right visas. Work out strategies. This is how to get to base camp. This is doing those things. It's getting to the level of how do I get there? What does it look like when I get there? And how on earth am I going to climb that mountain? And then lastly, turning those strategies into actions. This is your itinerary, your day-to-day plan, and just making it happen. So you can have the trip of the lifetime, but you need to do it. You need to get on the plane on February the 2nd. You need to get to base camp on February the 4th. You need to be climbing over the next 4 days. You need to come down safely. It's deciding what you're going to do and then doing it. All right, so what do we start with? A vision so strong you can taste it. Here we go. This is your personal vision. This is something that needs to be done not just by all the owners, but by the partners of their owners, because they are so immediately affected by a small business. What do you want in life? What do you want to do in 5 years? What do you want to be doing the day you retire? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to learn? What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be able to contribute to your community and to charities you might be interested and involved in? What hobbies do you want to have? The question I like best is, what do you want to be doing the day you die? And what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? It sounds a bit macabre, but if you can think about it in that way, you get that ingrained vision that is your dream, that is your perfect imagined lifestyle. Once you understand that, you can start planning your business vision. Where will you go with your business? What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be doing in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years at retirement? How do you want to be viewed in your marketplace? What does your perfect business life look like? And the aim of both of these, as I said, to create your motivation. And that motivation needs to be so powerful that it can overcome the sum of the frustration and the objections that you will face along the way. The frustration will come from yourself. It will be that day-to-day, that the things you've planned are not going to plan, that reality differs, life's hard, it's choppy, you need to change your plans, you need to rebudget and reforecast and start again and pick yourself up, dust yourself off. And the objections will come from that little voice in your head, but mostly from outside you. They're the people who are jealous, the people who doubt, the people who are naysayers. You need to also be able to overcome them and just believe in yourself enough to make it happen. Next, we start looking at the goals. This is our purpose. This is the tying in of our vision into what's actually going to happen. So in this particular example, we're looking at one of our services, and we're saying this year, 2020, we've currently got 50 sales, or we will have 50 sales. By 2025, we'll be looking at 1,000 sales of this service. So that's a 20-fold increase. And the sale price, it's going to change, but not a huge amount. We're going from $100 to $150. Overall, that in itself means a revenue of $5,000 this year to $150,000 in 5 years' time. As you can see, this looks like something which is profitable and worth pursuing. So do this for all of your products and services individually, add up the total amounts. And this is the important thing here. Be optimistically realistic. You've created your vision, you know your dream. Now you need to tap into that dream and start to say, is it achievable? If you look at these numbers and they make no sense, you may have to rethink. You can't go, it's almost impossible to go from 50 sales or something today to 1 million sales in 5 years' time. It would have major repercussions for supply, for logistics, for cash flow, for all sorts of things. And if you do, you have to work incredibly hard to get there. So realistic, but on the optimistic side. Then, this is the important thing, do a reality check. Don't just leave it with the dream, with the goals. You need to start thinking about the requirements. what you will have to put in place to make those revenue or turnover goals a reality. So in this case, we're looking at the same service, we're looking at the number of staff we have and what they're paid. So we're looking at the fleet costs and we're looking at the office costs in order to support that service being delivered. So you can see here that our cost is going from only $2,500 today to $46,000 in 5 years' time. And then we need to be able to work out again whether this is worth pursuing. But these again have to be really realistic. Much better to throw more in here than less, because you've got something to work to. And then the obvious next step, putting those cost and revenue figures together and working out your profit. So you can see here, for example, we're predicting an uplift in profit from 2,500 today to 104,000 in 5 years' time. Now, most business people would look at that and say that uplift is absolutely worth the hard work that's going to go into making it happen. But most people would struggle to go from, how do I go from 5,000 now to 150,000 in 5 years' time? So don't do A to E, go A, B, C, D, E. We'll put all of the interim years in here. And it's really important because it may not be smooth. You're going to have exponential growth. You'll probably have a curve rather than a linear scale that you're going up by. And if you look at that profit figure for 2021, you'll see that sometimes there are blips. And that if we have modeled and allowed for them, that those blips are okay. So we're actually looking, in the second year here, we're looking at a lower profit than in the first year. And when that happens, when it comes to fruition, we don't want to be concerned about that. We want to be able to look at it and say, yes, that was the result of planned investment in the long-term health of our business becoming scalable. Okay, this is a fantastic quote by Jack Welch. In real life, strategy is actually very straightforward. Hopefully by now you've noticed that what we're talking about, it ain't rocket science. It's think, dream, plan, check up on your plan, make it happen. It's just a lot of people out there in the professional services market, particularly business coaches, will make it sound scarier than it needs to. And that's because there's money in scary, to be honest. We want you to know this is something you can do by yourself. You've all got it in you. Sometimes it's hard, yes, but it's not complicated. Now, this is why I love this quote so much. It's very straightforward. All you do is pick a general direction and implement like hell. So there's the important word, implement. It just means do. Make it happen. Implement, implement, implement. Every day, do one thing. So if you are doing that one thing a day, how do you track that you are hitting your priority targets over time? It can help to have an overview project plan like this one. So here you can see again those 3 division areas. We're looking at the measures, growth, operations, and business management. And then we've just divided it up by quarter. And what we're saying is within growth, in quarter 1, we're going to update the website. Quarter 2, we'll set up a new CRM. Quarter 3, the focus will be on recruiting new staff. And in quarter 4, we're going to get on to researching that new product we think may be of interest to us. Obviously, within that, you've got 12, 13 weeks in a quarter. There's a lot of activity that can go on in that. And then the next thing is to create those project plans and actions from there. So if you look at, for example, update the website, weeks 1 and 2 may well be talk to external providers about who can do that work for you. Weeks 3 and 4 might be work out the structure of the proposed website. Look at some examples that you want to be able to mirror. The second month might be about writing the copy, producing the images, and the third month might be about implementing, testing, and marketing the new website. If you go into that level of detail, then you tie your in priority order with the actual tasks that people are doing on a daily basis. And by doing this as well, it forces you to prioritize the most important area. So what tends to happen is people get excited when they plan strategically and they want to achieve everything all at once. And what happens is they work incredibly hard for about 2 or 3 months, and then they get frustrated because nothing's being finished. So by specifically saying, what do we need to do and complete first, we try to avoid that burnout. We focus all the attention in completing something and moving forward onto the next thing. Obviously, the more staff you have, the more free time you have, the larger this cross-section can be. If you have 30 staff, you would absolutely have a line for sales, a line for marketing. And if you're lucky, maybe more than one large project happening at any one time. But for a small business with 1 to 5 staff, this level, 12 things in a year, is more than enough. Imagine how much better your business would be if you could put all of this in place across the next 12 months. So strategic planning is staying alive. You have to do it. We all have to do it. But it doesn't have to be a big procedure. Just start and then make it an everyday habit. And inspire the other people around you. Just focus on the specific requirements and how to make them real. Don't think about mindset. Don't think about tapping into everything. Just work out how to make strategies into actions. Aim for imperfect to a general plan. This is Jack Welch again. Have a general direction and make progress in it. It doesn't matter if you hit your targets every time, as long as you're trying to hit your targets. And lastly, just keep going. 95% of people won't. So if you just keep going, you will be in the top 5% of winners. Plan turns their companies, their businesses, and their lives around. Thank you. That's the end of our presentation. Our Friday sessions are held in Willerton at 11 till 12 every Friday. Every business is invited to come and join us for expert advice, specific advice and consultations, and lastly, networking and support with local business owners. I've been Jen May from May Dynamics. Thank you.